Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. I'm going to show you how to take a child-size flip-flop or any size flip-flop and make some really fun projects out of it. Now this flip-flop I bought at Dollar Tree, and here's just one of the projects that I made, and it's just a small version of a quilt putting the flip-flop pattern on it. Now this has got sashing and a border and all kinds of things on it, but you can use the quilt-as-you-go method to make this same flip-flop quilt without all the added headaches of figuring out sashing and a border. Now if you're interested in learning how to do sashing, I will have a link below your YouTube screen in the description section on how to put sashing on. I'll have a link on also doing the quilt-as-you-go method, plus several other videos on making applique projects using your flip-flop pattern. To make the pattern, take your flip-flop. Now, if you're using an adult size flip-flop and you want to make it smaller, I'll show you later in the tutorial how I was able to do that. But the child size, you can get them at Dollar Tree, $1.29, I think. So take your flip-flop, trace around it. So then you've got a pattern that looks like this. After you draw the pattern, then draw it one more time, and we'll use that second pattern to draw how the strap is done. Take your shoe and take a ruler. Put the corner of the ruler right there like that, right at the part of the T-strap, right there. And it is 1 1/8 inch from this edge going down, and it's 1 1/4 inch from this edge going in. So on your drawing, place your ruler exactly like that. The 1 1/4 inch over here and the 1 1/8 inch right here, and then put a little mark. Now my straps came down about 3 inches. I didn't want it to really go down that far, so I went down 2 inches from here and put a mark, and went and put a mark over there. Take your second pattern that you drew and place your ruler in there same way. 1 1/8 inch from the top edge or the toe edge, and 1 1/4 inch from the inside edge, and put a dot. Now my straps on my sandal that I bought came down 3 inches this way. I didn't want it to go that far down, so I went 2 1/2 inches from this dot right here, and I put a dot over here and over here. Now draw a line connecting the dots. Go this way and connect the dots. Then come in 1/4 inch this way and draw a line. Let me go down here a little bit and draw a line, and then go over 1/4 inch from that other line and draw a line. And then I did round this just a little bit. Then I recommend you cut it out of the paper and mark on it left, and then flip it over and mark right. And then I also recommend, it's easier to trace around cardstock instead of paper, but you can just use paper. But if you have cardstock, I would place your pattern on that. Now, I also recommend your other pattern, your first one you drew, trace that onto cardstock, because if you're going to make a quilt, you're going to have to trace around this pattern quite a few times. So do that. But before you start actually using it, this is the inside of the foot. Mark left, and then flip it over and mark right. Now I'm going to show you two different ways to make your T-strap. So the first way I'm going to show you is really simple. You cut a strip of fabric 1 inch wide by approximately 8 inches for this small shoe. This is the right side of my fabric. I also call it the pretty side. You want to flip it over to the wrong side, which is the duller side of it. Take your pattern and trace around the left foot, then flip it over and trace around the right foot. Now for the underside of the sandal pattern piece, you want to use a different color of fabric. Don't use the same fabric that's on the top and also on the bottom side, because it's going to cause you to possibly later make a huge mistake. And I found out the hard way. So I just used white. So I have the white against the right side of the fabric, or the pretty side. Pin it all together, and then using a straight stitch, stitch right on top of the drawn line all the way around. Normally I tell you to leave an opening so you can turn it front side out, but we're not going to do that. You're going to not leave any opening, and I'll show you another way to turn it front side out. Now I used pinking shears to trim around the edges, and I trimmed just a little less than 1/4 of an inch all the way around. If you don't have pinking shears, go ahead and use your regular straight edge scissors, but after you've cut around, you need to go in and do little clips up to the stitch line, but make sure you don't cut through the stitch line, and you want to do that all the way around. Then flip it over to the back side. Pull your fabrics apart. So I've pulled the top side fabric there. Take your scissors and cut a little hole. Then release the fabric and go in and cut along there like that. And I'm going to cut along here. So you've got this big opening. Now turn it front side out. Now this is a one that I made where I used the same fabric on the bottom as on the top. And I turned them over and I cut holes in it. But because I didn't know really which was the top side and I wasn't paying attention, I wound up with 2 right feet. So that's why I highly recommend you put different fabric on the bottom. Now this one is the sandal that represents the right foot. So now I'm going to take this template for the sandal. Make sure you have right foot up, and place it to where the template is going towards the big toe area, which is right here. And line up the edges. Then take a marking pin and put a little mark underneath here and over here, and then up at the top. So you wind up with 3 little marks. That shows you where you're going to put your strap. So one of the methods for putting this strap on is using this 1 inch wide piece of fabric. So you're going to fold the edges in on the back side of the fabric, wrong side of fabric. Fold the edges in towards the center and press. Here's the fabric that I'm going to use on the sandal that I'm making. So the edges are folded inside. They're down underneath. So this is the top side of the strap. Take your strap and pinch it like this, and then fold it over like that. Place the point right here on this dot up here by the big toe, and focus or line these up over those marks. and then place pins to hold. Now, you could have stitched the strap on this top fabric here way before you stitch the underside fabric on. I didn't want to do it that way because I didn't like the way it looked, didn't like the way the fabric was laying there. So that's why I'm doing it this way, but you can do it either way you want. So now after you've got it pinned down, you want to leave about 3/4 of an inch to an inch of a tail out on each side. Now to stitch it on, start over here and stitch on the edge, just using a straight stitch. Go up, across here, and then down. Then go over to the other strap, stitch up, across, and then down. As I was pinning this onto my background fabric, I placed thin paper underneath, or you can use tearaway stabilizer to help stabilize the fabric on the bottom, because it could start bunching up. So I found it's just use it as a precaution. So arrange your sandals in any direction you want. When you're pinning them down, take your strap ends and poke them underneath, or I should say push them underneath. So it looks like that. Now doing a straight stitch, stitch around the edge. And if you come over here and look at this one, just stitch as close as you can to the edge. When you're done, you can just tear the paper off. This is a decorative hanging towel that I made. I used my embroidery machine to make the letters, and then I put up sandals on here, or flip-flops. How did I get them so little? Well, here's my little pattern, and how I created it was that I took this one that I drew, I put it in my photocopier printer and reduced it by half. And I came out with these little tiny pieces. Now this method that I put on here, I'll show you what I used to put that on. I used fusible webbing. There's several different brands out there. It doesn't matter which one you use, they all work the same. This one that I used is Pellon Light Easy Steam 2. You can buy it off of Amazon.com. So you have these little sheets in there. There's 2 pieces of paper with a thin layer of glue in between. You take your pattern that you've created and you trace around it, and then you follow the instructions on the back for putting it on. It's a really simple process. So down below your YouTube screen in the description section, I will have links you can click on that will show you how to do this particular type of applique stitching. I'll also have links to different style of quilts that you can make, so you can put the flip-flops on it, and a variety of other projects. On this wall, there's a quilt hanging behind me. Almost every time I have a video, somebody asks me about that quilt. The link is down below. Just look for block number 1. Here's one more project that I made. It's a pillow. And so I will have links on different pillow projects, really basic ones, and you can use those to put the flip-flops on it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you try making one of these projects. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and make sure you check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl, this is Manny, and this is Scotty. See you next time.